Big Thing.
Vermont, shout out to Rosillo, is a 13 seed in the NCAA tournament. Winners of the America East on Saturday. They knocked off UMBC, who were the darlings, of course, of last year's tournament. The Catamounts have won 18 straight against teams not named UMBC. They've got a player named Anthony Lamb who can go. He had 28 in the final, shoots better than 52% for the year. When he gets it cooking, he can hang a number on you. Had 42 earlier this year against St. Bonaventure. In the days leading up to their game against Florida State, you might hear him mentioned as a player to watch. Vermont as a team capable of pulling off an upset. You might not hear about Josh Speidel. He won't play for the Catamounts, but he is a part of this team. It could be his senior year, but the playing portion of his career essentially was put on hold. Super Bowl Sunday 2015. He was severely injured that day in a car crash, was in a coma for weeks. When he regained consciousness, he began a lengthy and determined path back to life, his life, of which basketball played such an important role. He was an all-state player in Indiana. Gonzaga, Purdue, and Wisconsin were among the teams who were interested, but he had committed to play for John Becker in Vermont. A few days after the accident, in the midst of Vermont season, Becker sat in a hospital room and told Speidel's family that Vermont would have a spot for him whenever Josh was ready. It took a long time for him to come back after he awoke from the coma. He'd suffered a traumatic brain injury and had to relearn literally everything, down to how to say mom. But Speidel did his part. Becker was true to his word. Now, I crushed the NCAA for the tone-deaf and silly things they occasionally do, but they got this one right. They allowed Vermont to honor Speidel's scholarship without having it count against the number of players on the team. Along the way, there have been beautiful moments, like when he was with the Vermont team on their visit to Purdue in his home state of Indiana. Matt Painter, who'd recruited him, asked that he be introduced to the crowd in Mackey. He got a standing ovation. Becker told me that moment made him cry. The other moments might not have had an audience, but they're significant. He's getting a 3.5 in school. He practices every day, working diligently on his game. He lives in the team house on his own. He can take care of himself, but he's looked after very closely by his Vermont teammates who cook a meal and make sure he's good. I spoke Saturday night with his head coach about this brotherhood, about the importance of Speidel to who they are as a program. He told me Josh could have been Anthony Lamb. He could have been that guy. He might have been robbed of that identity, but he has a new one in Burlington, a beloved fellow student and significant member of this proud program that is the envy of smaller schools across the country. He's a young man who nearly died before he really began living his life, who's a hell of a reminder to us all that one shining moment is the one we have right now.